Happy Friday, everybody. I didn't even see a countdown. Doesn't matter. It's Friday afternoon, and it's that time of the week where we get to talk about all things Black Diamond, AFL HCC, with another massive round 12 coming up. Only 6 rounds to go till we get to the finals. We just polished off round 6. If that's confusing, we'll explain it to you shortly. We caught up on a washout round. But tonight we have a different AB altogether. No Ashball tonight, unfortunately. He's out probably up to mischief, I would say. So instead we've got someone very sensible, very capable, and very much loved right across the league. So joining me and Shane tonight is Mr. Statsman Andy Baldwin. How are you, mate?
I'm very well, Chop, and hello, Shane, and good to be on this for the grill for the first time in year 2025.
Yes, very good. Sorry, Shane, I didn't mean to ignore saying hello to you, mate. Always good to see you.
Mate, absolutely no issues with ignoring me, mate. We've got a special guest tonight in Andy, so we got to get the intro to him first for sure.
And it's probably not a bad trade from what I hear. He's got a little bit of information that would be very interesting to share with us tonight, I would imagine. He's always well prepared, Andy Baldwin. Doesn't matter whether it's behind the goals or joining us on one of these chats.
He is indeed. That being said, Ashley's usually pretty good with his prep as well. Chop, it's you and I that fly a little bit on the seat of our pants, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I don't need any prep, mate. It all just flies straight off the tip of my tongue. So I'm always talking about footy one way or another anyway. So.
Yeah, fair enough too. And listen, it's interesting. It was good to get that round 6 out the way, wasn't it? Because it kind of felt like the ladder was a little bit tipsy-turvy with that missing rounds hadn't been played yet. But we've got that missing round played now. So I think it feels to me as though we know where we are. And this real run into the final 5 or 6 weeks now is really quite interesting. And I think it allows us to actually know where teams stand and get a bit of a feel for what's going to happen over these next few weeks.
Yeah. Well, we've caught right up, haven't we? So everything's pretty much up to date. We're all up to date with the whole competition. A little bit of rain about today, but I don't think we're going to be bothered by rain between now and the rest of the season. So we should get 6 good dry weeks. You watch it pour down tomorrow now, which I pretty much just called Evans to open up.
You've just done an absolute commentator's curse on us, Chop.
But I tell you, I said it last week, and it proved it to be the case. Mother Nature did us a big solid, I reckon, by raining in round 6 and letting us replay that particular round, because some pretty cool things happened right across the board. But most in particular was our Bar TV coverage, which we'll talk about in a little bit, I imagine. But wasn't that a great game?
Yeah, listen, it was, and I only got to watch it from afar. I normally sitting there behind the lens, but it was good watching it from afar. I suppose I was down in Melbourne and I was dialed in, and it was a pretty good last quarter there too. I was hanging on every word that you and Ash were talking about there, because it was a really interesting game. And obviously, what a chance it is too when you get to have an AFL star come back and play in the club of his roots. It's fantastic. I'd love to see more of it. I think it really added something to the whole day. I think it added something to the coverage, and it got Killarney Vale a win, which they've been a bit short of this year. So to get a win over the crosstown rivals there in Terrigal Avoca was a big thing for them.
It was massive in the context of it. I mean, it was a hugely hyped game. I don't know if you got a chance to look at it at all, Andy, but we had a giant playing among us at the end of the day. Pardon the pun. You know, I'm good for him. And he played a great game too with his little brother Brandon. I'm sure we'll talk about that at length a little bit. But one of the most entertaining games I can remember in a long, long time, and it was a close game as well. Terrigal, a few players out, and Killarney Vale were able to put a pretty good, strong side onto the field. Not the strongest side probably that they can come up with, but it was good to see them finally be able to get some good cattle out there and got a really good performance from their whole side. So I thoroughly enjoyed the game. It was so good. The only thing was difficult for me was no monitor, Shane, and it's always problematic.
Well, mate, we'll get you all covered for tomorrow. Don't you worry.
Yeah, it was good game. So Terrigal lost one they probably wouldn't want to, but some news about them on the horizon too. What did you think of the game, Andy? Did you watch it?
Mate, I was behind the goals, Corey.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Did you watch it?
I watched it back. I watched it back, and I think it was a great game for the league. I mean, it just shows. That a team like Killarney Vale can match up with the likes of Terrigal, even though Terrigal were missing pretty 3 players, key players at that. And then, Harry Pitt, to get 5 goals in a losing side, I mean, he must be up there. He would have been up there with the votes with the umpires, but I can't be told what actually happened.
3 bags in a row. He's just gone bag to give him quad bags for the year. But some news on that a little bit later on. And the fact that Daniel Lloyd is good, he played a great game and he's all class, and you can just see that he's played at the top tier level. But I don't think Killarney Vale played great on their own right. It's not like they're riding the back of Daniel Lloyd. And if anything, Brandon Lloyd probably gave the biggest highlights for the night. The day, I thought that mark in the last quarter, I just about wet my pants. It was amazing.
And well, you had Luke Flack come back as well, so it wasn't it wasn't just the Daniel Lloyd show. It was a little bit of getting a few others back as well, which I think made a huge help also. So yeah, it was fantastic to see. And like I say, I think we saw it down at AFL Sydney a few weeks back when they had a couple of Richmond, who's a Brandon Ellis, and I think it was Cochin or whatever, came and played down there. And, it made a real festival of a day for AFL Sydney. And it felt as, just watching from afar, obviously wasn't at the ground, but it felt as though there was a bit of that festival atmosphere at Adelaide Street as well. And,
the crowd were great.
Yep.
The crowd were really good. They were really in good spirits. From what I could hear, sometimes, big games like that at home, sometimes the Killarney Vale faithful can be a little, intense at times. But I thought it was played in really good spirits. The game itself was played well. There's always a little bit of argy-bargy amongst those two sides. There's a lot at stake between the two biggest clubs on the Central Coast, effectively. So, a bit at stake. But no, Shaq did well to get up. And Bish, mate, far out. He's got broken ribs, Chris Bishop, and he's got players coming back and forth all over the place. So hopefully things will settle down a little bit for him as we get a little bit closer to the finals. But we'll probably talk about that, but some more. Should we talk about?
I was going to say, we've gone completely off our normal run sheet, haven't we, Corey? Ashley takes the week off, and here we are. You and I are spinning the wheels and going around in circles. But we do like to usually start with running through the last round results, and we should give a little bit of a glance at those results from last week. Obviously, there was, 2 women's games held. Unfortunately, there was a bye between Cardiff and the Warners Bay Bulldogs, so we only got the 2 games of women's football there. It was Newcastle City quite easily accounting for Singleton out at Rose Point. They won 21-9, 135 to no score Singleton. And in the other game that we covered on Bar TV, it was Killarney Vale 22-14, 146, taking care of Terrigal Avoca, no score.
Yes.
Corey, you were at the Terrigal Avoca game. Tell us what you thought on that one.
Look, it's our women's comp's a bit tough at the moment, isn't it? Because unless you're a Killarney Vale, Newcastle City or Cardiff player or supporter, there's not a heap to crow about outside of those 3. They're the sides that are going to contest it again this year. Just when we think there's a little bit of progress being made, we sort of see these big shellackings and no scores. It's tough. What we got to remember, however, though, the girls' competition, they approach their footy slightly different to boys. They are competitive. There's no doubt about that. But because it's still great seeing the girls just having a big smile at the end of it. They might get a bit of a walloping, but as long as they've had a chance to get out there and
now.
So
Andy,
that's
Corey, you're just dropping out a little bit there for me. I don't know whether you're.
I think the gremlins are in the system.
Am I? I've got the best internet in the world here. What's going on?
Listen, I think you're right. It is. It is a tough run for some of those clubs, and they do put out and they genuinely enjoy the experience. It's just about now raising that level of contest amongst all the teams, because obviously we don't want to see the 3 tier 1 sides walk away with it every week. Obviously we didn't have a point kick from the other 2 sides across the weekend, which is something that will I suppose change as it goes on, and it's maybe thinking about it at a league level and what we can do as a community to help help get that addressed, because we want all 7 or 8 clubs that are fielding a women's team to have at least a competitive chance of scoring a few goals, if not taking it up to some of those top games.
I do worry about it a little bit, Shane, like especially in the years to come, because it's been going for a few years now, the women's competition, and there would be a lot of the girls in there who will be expecting to sort of progress a little bit. And if it's not happening and we're still seeing these kind of, the top 3 have beaten people, other sides, by literally over 100 points, and it's consistent. And when you're not even scoring, it really does make it sort of disheartening. And those girls that might not be fully locked into footy yet, they're still testing it out, or a couple of seasons into it. I just worry whether the enjoyment level might, wane a little bit at some stage, and we might find ourselves in a deeper mess. So it's definitely an area where the league have to look at quite seriously about how they can overcome it, because at this time of the season, maybe it's just an anomaly, maybe there's just a lot of girls away, but I don't think so. It's happening too consistently right across the league. So congratulations to those 3 sides who are belting, and when we see 3 weeks or so where none of those top 3 sides play against each other from one week to the next, it makes it a dire sort of a competition, doesn't it? So hopefully we can come up with some solutions for that soon. You got any ideas, Andy? How can we fix that?
Well, I'm just worried as much as you two are, and that's Borgies probably as well. We've now into year 4, I think, of women's cup and women's plate. Can you imagine what it's going to be like when the winners of women's plate have to move up to women's cup? What the kind of scorelines we're going to see as well. We're looking ugly, and it might be worth having a meeting, an emergency crisis meeting before the start of before the final start, and see what we can do about it.
Maybe
what is it? Is it also top 6 for the women? Is it what it was last year?
I don't think we've
There's only 7 teams.
Yet. I'm not sure whether we've seen a finals thing
yet.
Andy,
Surely not. There's 7
not.
teams. You can't have 6 of them finalists.
7 teams, I think it makes it hard with 7 teams.
Yeah, no, surely not.
What did we have last year? It was top 6, wasn't it?
It was, but we had the 8 teams. We had Maitland fielding the team there.
And I think that was sort of an encouragement type thing to try and see if we can. Incidentally, we went from 8 down to 7, so it wasn't actually effective in the long run of it, what it was intended to do. But it's a shame if we could get just one more of those sides up and competitive with them. You could even have where we have a top of the table final series and a bottom of the table final series, and just come up with something out of the box for the women's competition, because like I said, the girls, as a general rule, they're not quite as serious as what the boys are. No, sorry, I take that back. Not serious. They're not quite as competitive or hung up on winning or losing like the guys are. And sorry, just saying goodbye to my girlfriend. She's going out for dinner without me, so I talk footy. But while they're not as competitive, I think there's still got to be some kind of payoff and bonus for them, so that they're excited about it. So if we had a top 4 and a bottom 4 final series, that might be a little novelty that we could think about. But we need 8 teams and we need 4 competitive ones in the top, because you can't just throw the Entrance Batter Bay or Terrigal Singleton or Warners Bay into the Wolves in the finals, because it'll just be mauling. They'll be disappointed they don't. But the bottom 4 would be pretty competitive, I reckon.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, heading into round 12 now, who is in that emergency? Because if it's 1v4, if it's 4-team final series, who is the 4th place at the moment heading into round 12?
As it stands at the moment, that would be the Entrance Batter Bay.
Oh my goodness! And if it's the final series and they've got to play the 3rd place. If it's 1v2, the winner of that goes through the grand final. The loser of that has to play the winner of 3v4. Who's 3rd at the moment? It's Cardiff.
Yeah, at the moment, that's Killarney Vale. So they'd be playing against Killarney Vale in the first final. So
wow, it just looks. We could have a very ugly, one-sided final series. I hate to say it, boys.
Yep.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out. Cardiff are the front runners by a mile, I think, at the moment. But Killarney Vale and Newcastle City have been putting in some great performances in recent weeks. So hopefully, at least between those 3, we have a good fight.
And between those 3 sides, we could have a final series that was decided by less than a kick in all of those games. You could have one play 2 and be less than a kick, 2 plays 3 be less than a kick. So there's some great talent in those women's squads.
Yeah.
A great quality of football when we see it from those top three teams for sure. Now, boys, I don't wish to rain too much on the parade, but it looks like a pretty tough day at the office again tomorrow in the women's draw. Given that we've gone from round 6 to round 12, there's a couple of repeats. So we've got effectively a repeat of last week in a couple of those games. Warners Bay getting the chance to take on Cardiff. Warners Bay not able to field a team last week. They look like they've got a team name for tomorrow. So good to see Amy Pittman and the girls have got a squad out there. Once again, that's going to be pretty one-way traffic, I suggest. For my mind, Cardiff would be the favourites in that one.
Yeah, absolutely there, Shane. I mean, the basis on that, I mean, they've had...
What makes you say that, Shane?
Just the fact that they're a very talented side.
Yeah.
Well, based on this, guys, I mean, they've kept, Warners Bay really quiet, Cardiff. They just can't... Warners Bay have been giving goes every time they played them in the last 2.5 years, and they've only resulted in getting one goal against them. It just shows the strength that Cardiff have. I mean, they've got a football factory of at least 50 players to choose from.
Yeah,
as well.
Yep, they're well established, the women's programs in those clubs. So I don't even want to say it anymore. I say, just set yourselves little goals, like try and close the margin, the deficit from last time you played them. But you never know what's going to turn up on the day. And last time, 2 times I've said that, the margin's just been blown out of the water. So you can't even use that. It's like a little a goal to aim for each game.
Yeah.
Well, at least they're trying there, Corey.
Yeah, mate, give them that. I mean, that's what I mean. From one week to the next, there looks like there's some great progress being made, and then all of a sudden, one of the top sides just turn on a clinic, and then all of a sudden you feel like you're right back at square one.
And just quickly, Shane, before I just quickly interrupt, I mean, just to say, I'm going to predict they'll have at least 2 players in the team of the year at the end of the year, guaranteed. 2 or 3
from Warners Bay.
Yeah, because I mean they deserve to be in the side.
Yep.
Of course, yeah. The top players in every club, men's and women's, the top 2 to 3 players in every club are good enough to make the team of the year in or representative football right across the board. That's in men's and women's, and that's one good thing. You can build sides around that.
Yep. Down at Hilton Moor, Terrigal Avoca get the chance to host Killarney Vale this time. This is a repeat of last week. Obviously, it was Adelaide Street. They're back down to Hilton Moor tomorrow. It was 146 points. The Bombers got up by last week. I can't see really it changing too much. Maybe that margin differs by a couple of goals, but it's still going to be a fairly significant win towards the Killarney Vale Bombers for my mind.
Mia Wilson for another bag to go 5 bags for the year. She what did she kick? 8 last week. So she's done that twice. And it was Emerson Squires who got our bar raiser award too. She was very good. She was running around non-stop all day. There's 2 sisters on opposing teams too on the weekend, wasn't there? Did you guys notice that? The 2 Squires girls and the 2 Jurek girls. So
yeah, I noticed that watching them back on the replay. I couldn't believe that they're playing on each other.
I'd be trying to cash in on that if I was the entrance Baddo Bay. Like, you can't have sisters playing at opposite ends of the coast. They're right smack bang in between Terrigal and Killarney Vale. They could be the club that brings all those sisters together.
That's a great little recruiting tip. I love it.
Yeah. If I was coach there, that's what I'd be doing.
Speaking of the entrance Baddo Bay, they are hosting Newcastle City tomorrow in the women's game, 1:00 at Baddo Bay Oval there at Passage Road. As with the other 2 games, I think this is going to be a relatively one-sided. I'm tipping Newcastle City in this one by a significant margin, probably 100+, given where City are at. All
right. Should we put a Krispy Kreme donut on how much over 100 for each of those games?
No, I don't think we should.
Fair enough.
So that is the women's draw. The men's is a little bit of a different story. It was a very interesting week, as we talked about earlier. There was, I suggest there was possibly some upsets in the mix from last weekend, and certainly that game that we covered on Bar TV, I would have said was an upset. We had. I think Terrigal Avoca have been in some really good form, and they came up against a Killarney Vale team that had, as we said, Daniel Lloyd back. We had Luke Flack playing as well. We had was it Brandon Lewis's 200th game, so it was a pretty monumental day down there. And Killarney Vale ended up getting over the line 9-10-64 to 7-11-53. Chop, you had probably the best seat in the house, and Andy, you had the second best seat in the house.
I did have the best seat in the house because Ash was against the wall. I was in the middle of the commentary box, so I definitely had the best seat in the house. Just quickly before we go into it, Shane, I sent you a little video that I did today. I'm going to put it on the social later. Can that go? Can we put that up? We don't have to do
When
it
do you
just
want
yet.
that to play, mate? When do you want that on?
Well, maybe now. We're about to do the men's, because before we do, I'll just give a little intro. I did this today, and as you guys know, I love goals. I love seeing bags get kicked. We herald the goal kickers of the competition. We've got the Goolagong Trophy for the best goal kicker at the end of the year. We just go on and on and on about the goal kickers. Andy Baldwin just waves his flags like mad every week for the goal kickers. But you know what we don't mention? We never mention the guys who don't kick any goals. And I think we should, because you know what happens to those guys at the end of the year at Mad Monday? If you don't kick a goal, all sorts of ridicule and amusement for the rest of the team. So I compiled a little list of all the guys who haven't kicked a goal yet as a little bit of a public service announcement, and to encourage them to go out and kick a goal before you're doing now, because you've got 6 weeks before you have to do a nude run around your own home ground. So
there you go. Okay, I'm going to try and get this to work. I'm not sure whether it will. We'll see.
It only goes for a minute. It only goes for a minute. But if your name's on this, get your butt into gear.
Buckle up. Here we go.
Is there any sound? No sound.
It says there's sound. Oh, hold on. It says there's sound, but it's not coming out.
Oh, well, there's a little bit of music, and it's a shame because that's the funniest part of it. But anyway, this is a sneak preview. I'll put it on the socials later. These are all the players right here. You haven't kicked a goal yet. You guys are in for it at Mad Monday. I just wanted to put you out there, make it public, let everyone know exactly who you are so your teammates can hopefully get around you and get you to kick a goal. Now, I've only put the people who've played 50% of the Black Diamond Cup matches. So if you played 6 games or more and you haven't kicked a goal, then save yourself. There's all sorts of stuff. You might have to wear your undies to Dan Murphy's or something in the middle of Mad Monday weekend to pick up supplies. You never know what they might come up with. So kick a goal. Go out there, do it, and celebrate like crazy, because then everyone knows you definitely kicked the goal. I think we're just about there. There's plenty of them, isn't there?
There's a lot of names on that list, Chop, and there's some pretty big names on that list as well too. Some guys who I certainly wouldn't want to. I thought running around doing the run.
I think I've done all of those guys a huge favour, wouldn't you say? I would suggest I'd be quite popular putting that up. I think just now that everybody knows who they are.
Well, there we go. So back to that game. We did have a little bit of a chat about it earlier, but any other insights you boys wanted to add in there before we move on to reviewing the other games? If anyone is interested, it's worth watching the Bar TV replay, because it was a really entertaining game. We saw Brendan Lewis had his 200th match. And celebrated with the most unlikeliest of goals. There's a spectacular mark by Brandon Lewis. Daniel Lloyd kicks a couple, I think. Harrison Pitt kicks another bag of 5. And the Terrigal Avoca Panthers get one of the quickest goals we've ever seen, which kind of helped spark their resurgence late in the game. It's a really entertaining game. For Terrigal, that beat the top side the week before quite comfortably in round 11, and then to come out and replay this one and get done by Killarney Vale. I don't think there'd be any warning bells at Terrigal at all, because there really just was a massive turn. And no Ethan Williams, who's been arguably one of their best. Jack Grimmonlee was injured quite early in the piece and still battled on because he's tough as nails. But what do you think of this, boys? Interesting news. I don't think Harrison Pitt is available for the rest of the home and away season. We'll be back from overseas trip at the finals. So the Goolagong Trophy race is wide open at the end of the day. Yeah, that's interesting, because he took a few weeks off earlier in the season already. So a shortened season for him. When he's been here, though, geez, he's kicked some goals, hasn't he? So
3 bags in a row, 4th for the year. So
that means guys like Zach Munns or whatever else can have a realistic shot at that. I think that's an interesting thing. So
yeah,
is that confirmed, or is that just a bit of a Bit of
No,
a
no,
rumour on the side.
that's confirmed. He's had a trip overseas booked for a little while. It just so happens that he's coming off the back end of a purple patch of goal kicking. So
Yeah.
3 bags in a row, 4 for the year. He's the leading bag rater on my little bag rating party. Zach Munns is coming second with 3. He was unlucky to miss out on a bag last week, wasn't he? 4. Did you see that, Andy? Zach Munns, he had a great return.
Oh,
We'll get to that
I
game
did
in a
read
minute
about that
anyway.
story.
Don't jump ahead, Chop.
Yeah, sorry, mate. We'll get to that game. But I thought all the good players stood up. Kurt Fleming for Terrigal Avoca, I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the mix for Elliot Davey medal votes this year. He's had a wonderful year. He's playing fantastic footy. He's the old veteran warhorse there for the Terrigal Avoca Panthers. He's a very celebrated player there, former captain, and playing some great footy at the moment, but unable to drag the boys over the line, unfortunately.
Yeah, Andy, anything
No,
to
just
add on
quickly.
that game?
Anything to add on that game? Well, I was just going to say, I mean, that goal that you were talking about from full back to full forward, I mean, was it quicker than the one we had last year where Warners Bay did it in 5 kicks in the semi-final?
Well, they did it in 2 kicks. It was Birkinshaw's kick, Birkinshaw to Grimley. Grimley hand pass to Leecroft to Harrison Pitt. Harrison Pitt kicked it from about 20 out. It was just epic.
And as Borgie said, it was a complete turnaround. It could have been a big margin, and I think game over, and then bang, within 10 points, it was still game on.
It injected some excitement.
It certainly quieted down the crowd because I was at the clubhouse end at the end, and it was like a pin dropped. It was silent.
It didn't get quiet in the commentary box. I can tell you, we were going absolutely bananas up there.
I could hear from the soundproof.
Could you really? That's great. That's excellent. I always work on my voice projection. That's great news. Where'd Andy go?
Well, we've lost him. We've done something there.
Come back, Statsman. Yeah, it was a good game, Shane. It was a great game.
Indeed it was, and I enjoyed watching it, and the fantastic call there from yourself and Ashley as well. Over at well, this is an interesting stat for you, Chop. It was a home game for Newcastle City on the weekend, and they played at Dick Burwell Oval.
Wow.
That's the second time this year Newcastle City played a home game at Tuggerah at the Central Coast Sports Centre, and they've played a home game at Dick Burwell, and then they played Maitland at Passage Road. So there you go. That is the
why is that? Agent Q, if you're watching right now, can you give us an explanation on that? Because that's odd. You know, we love Newcastle number 1. It's beautiful ground. Why would you be playing home games and not even like at the opposition's home ground?
I know. Listen, I think it's just one of those vagaries of obviously when the draw was done, Nelson Bay weren't in the draw, and then this was a replay game, so you're fitting things in and whatever else. So very interesting.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, it was a Newcastle City home game, believe it or not, out at Dick Burwell Oval on the weekend. And I think, we were all a little bit wary about how that match would go. Newcastle City were coming off a 2-game losing streak, and it felt like they really needed to win this one, and win it they did. 13-21-99 versus 7-3-45 for the not at home Nelson Bay Marlins, even though they're playing at home. So Newcastle, doing what they needed to do there and getting that win after those 2 losses, as I said. And we've been really impressed by the Marlins, and I actually thought that maybe at home they were potentially a chance, but Newcastle City shut the door on that one pretty clearly. And obviously 13-21 is a little bit wayward. It could have been perhaps a bigger margin.
I think interesting result. I think because that was a fairly sizable win in the end, especially at Dick Burwell Oval, and that's still without Jordan Deere and Jack Woodhams. Wonderful to see the other bag kick for the year came from historically one of our great goal kickers in Mitch Crawford. So the coach there has just fired up the hog and just started that big Harley Crawfordson 6 times. So he gets his first bag for the year, and we're stoked about that because he does what a good coach would do and gives the floor to the younger goal kickers that are in the side now, and he's got plenty of them. But without his 2 spearheads there again, it was sort of getting to a point where can they win without those 2 up front, and it was going to be a real test because we know Nelson Bay have got their own. They've got they got some firepower up there, and we get to see them again tomorrow. But the big BB gun, Billy Barton, fast becoming a favourite of mine. He's he can kick a goal. I think he ended up with 3.
He did end up with 3. Interesting for City. Finn Hurley, who we've seen dominate a lot of the ruck contests this year, kicked a couple as well. So I don't know whether he kicked them out of the centre or whether he was moved up forward. But
a little Woody,
him on the scoreboard as well.
And the emergence of a little Woody, like Max Woodhams.
Max with a couple as well, yeah.
So Max Woodhams is more Woodhams than Jack because he's the Max Woodhams, and Jack generally is not a lot of Woodhams, is it? But either way, they're both absolutely great goal kickers. But it looks like Max might be following the same footsteps there with another 2 goals. But what I would like to point out is Noah McDonald with this first. I just got a big toothache. Noah McDonald gets to keep his pants on at the end of the year. He kicked his first goal for the year, which inspired that video earlier today, actually. So well done, No Mac. He probably kicked it from full back, I reckon, just launched one. So he gets to keep his pants on, but a few of his teammates got to lift their game.
Yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, interesting. I think Nelson Bay still well and truly in that hunt for finals. So yeah, no, I don't think they'd be too disappointed losing a game against City. But I think City really needed to win that one after those 2 losses. I think they needed just to steady the ship. So steady they did. And Captain led it from the front with those 6 we talked about.
I would assume I would assume that Newcastle were firing in that game because they needed to with a couple of wayward performances in recent weeks. So I reckon they would have come out and played a really solid, good game of footy, which is great for Nelson Bay because then they can see exactly what the gap is between them and Newcastle City when they're sort of playing close to their best. And given that Deer and Woodham still have to come into that side. So Nelson Bay, I was impressed with them a couple of weeks ago. They're not way off the pace. Whether they can find their way into a grand final this year, well, they're going to have to find a superhuman type of spirit. But, we hope that they find that by being in the finals anyway. But,
indeed. And our third game last weekend was what I'm going to call the Groundhog Day Cup because for the 3rd time in 4 weeks, we saw the entrance Bateau Bay play Maitland just with one of those vagaries of the scheduling. It felt
how many times
every week they were playing each other. So that's the 3rd time in 4 weeks we saw, and I think the 4th time for the year. So they played each other in round 1, and then they played 3 of the last 4.
And they're 2-2, aren't they?
It was 2-2. It was an entrance Bateau Bay home ground down there at Passage Road. They weren't able to hold on to this one. It was probably a relatively comfortable win given the one we saw a couple of weeks back in our broadcast game where it did come down to those last few minutes. It was 10-17-77 to 6-12-48. So the visiting side, Maitland Saints, getting another win on the board, their 2nd for the year, and doing the entrance Bateau Bay relatively comfortable.
Yeah, well, what a way to go about it. How they managed to draw each other 4 times in the year, I don't know. In a competition that's got 17 rounds and only eight teams, and only got 8, after round 3 or 4 or something. But how they managed to draw each other 4 times, I'm not too sure. That I think some fancy footwork there in the fixturing somehow. But what interesting run with entrance winning first one, then Maitland, then the entrance. Then Maitland. So who ends up with bragging rights at the end of the day? I guess you're going to have to add up the points in for and against and match ratio. But one of them is going to end up with the spoon and one of them isn't. So where it goes, because are they both on 2 wins for the year now?
They are, yes. And I think on percentage-wise, I think the entrance Bateau Bay are on the bottom of the table now. I think that puts... I've just now said that, but I probably should double check. I'm pretty sure that put Maitland just above, and that is the case. Yeah, Maitland. So Maitland just above on match ratio there.
Well, that's going to come down to that thing that we pointed out before, where because it's got to match ratio and because we had a bye, the entrance Bateau Bay are going to always end up with 1 extra game than Maitland, which means they can finish with the same amount of wins. But based on that, and that's just so you know, that's just being very picky. But if you're particular about getting a wooden spoon, that's one of the reasons why bye rounds and all that sort of stuff can't happen in top tier footy, because that does make a difference to clubs. It's kind of a bit bummed you got 1 extra game, and that's the reason why you get the wooden spoon.
Now, we love Big Rylan Hoffman and the ability for him to grab a mark and then kick a goal. Went goalless on the weekend. So the Maitland Saints found other avenues with Riley Newstead kicking 4 goals.
Yes.
Sort of not just relying on Hoffman as their target, obviously sharing things around a little bit, and it's worked out really well for them.
Yeah. What do you think of Roland Hoffman as a forward, Andy? You would have seen him up close a few times. He's a big boy, isn't he?
Certainly is, boys. I mean, sorry for the inconvenience. Mine dropped out. I don't know
Did
what
you have
happened.
dinner?
No,
You
no,
have a
my
nice baked
computer,
dinner or something?
my computer dropped out. No, Rylan Hoffman did it. I mean, he's been really good. I mean, he's a really good, smart, tall full forward. I mean, he's up there for sure. I mean, he kick it. I mean, I think earlier in the year he kicked the bag also in a losing side. I mean, that was against Terrigal.
He's
I
got
mean,
2 bags.
he's got 2 bags now. So
Yeah.
put him down
He's,
probably for the idea to get another bag this weekend if
he is coming
weather
back
permits.
off an injury, so perhaps he's not
Yes.
100% over that too. But that's great signs, what you mentioned, Shane, though, for them to be able to find so many other avenues from goal. They had Billy Ellis in the side a couple of weeks ago, but I'm not too sure if he was in on the weekend, who looked like he could be a good foil for Ryland. But if they can still sort of kick that many goals and get a win, and that's without Ryland getting on the scoreboard, then that's good signs for Maitland. That means their season at least is going in that direction. But it'll be a like old Western style shootout this weekend, I reckon, and we'll see the big Hoffloader back in the scoreboard this week, I reckon.
I'm sure we will. The last game from last week was the Warners Bay who hosted Cardiff, so that sort of crosstown rivals there, and it was Warners Bay taking the chocolates there 11-10, 76 to 6-3, 39. That was week 3. I said there was a 3-week Baywatch period for Cardiff, but with the repeat round, there's actually going to be 4 weeks of them paying a Nelson Bay, an Entrance Bateau Bay, and then Warners Bay twice. So they're on their 3rd week now of playing one of the bays. They're 1 win, 2 losses. We said back at the start of this whole Warners Bay, sort of this Baywatch period, they kind of needed to walk away with 2, maybe 3 to make the finals. I think that loss on the weekend really makes it hard for them. And they're going to have to come up against Warners Bay again tomorrow because they're playing them in a repeat game there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, first thing I want to mention is Munzilla just continues to have just an eclipsing season, doesn't he? He's polarizing this year. And another 4 goals, unlucky not to get another bag. He just keeps doing the job, doesn't he? Can't wait to see. Hopefully we get them in a couple of weeks' time when they come up against Terrigal, I think in round 14. That'll be a great broadcast game to have. But I reckon they've got a couple of players that might be polling very high in Elliot Davey medals at the moment. And we've talked about amongst ourselves. Tom Gardner's, he's just apex midfielder.
Killing it.
Yeah. Yep. So, you might have to expand your presidency of fan clubs to the entire Warners Bay Football Club, maybe, Shane, because every week
I'm already president of the Max Collins Club. I think I'm president of the Nelson Bay Marlins fan club. So I don't know how many more presidencies I can hold, but yeah, listen.
I'm the Munzilla. I'm the one of Zach Munns, but I think there's only me in the whole club. So
no, don't be silly. Munns is a genuine gun this year.
I know his coach is a big fan of him this year too. It's absolutely awesome. So
Riley Hall's also chipping in with 3 goals as well. So it wasn't just the Zach Munns show. There was goal kickers around. I think the Big Dig got a couple as well from memory. Although maybe maybe not.
I'll have a look quickly. None for Dignam.
None for Dignam and goal to Collins.
I don't think Dignam played by the look of it.
No, he didn't. There you go. I think it was the week before he kicked a couple. So apologies there, Mark. I've got you out of order.
So they're cranking along, aren't they, at the moment, Warners Bay? They really do deserve that second spot on the ladder right now. And they're in really good shape as we head towards the finals. They're going to go deep into finals this year. There's no doubt about that. Unfortunately for the Hawks, I've been sort of riding them for most of the year, but there's got to come a point where you just got to cut your losses and say yay or nay. They looked like they had a reasonably good squad. They just weren't impressive against Nelson Bay the week before, and then this was kind of, I guess, maybe the last swing at trying to hit a home run, and they weren't able to do it. So I think their season's just about done. A lamentable season for the Hawks, unfortunately. Hopefully they can get a bit of consistency and stability with their group for next year, and try and put the same side on the paddock every week.
Yeah, and that win to Killarney Vale has put them above Cardiff on the premiership table as well. So Cardiff dropped to 6th after this weekend just gone. So yeah, they're going to struggle to make finals now. Purely and simple, it would take an absolute miracle for them to be able to hit the top 4, and I just can't see it happening.
Do you know what? I sent you a bit of documentation during the week, Shane, you might remember. What excites me about where Warners Bay are at the moment is that if we, this is just me being a bit gratuitous when I say this, but if we cast our minds back to season 2021 that was ruined by COVID in round 9, and I was just having a look at a research through there, and I was coaching the Gosford Football Club at the moment, and we know Gosford aren't around at the moment. They've had a couple of lean years. But on the weekend, calling the Terrigal game and Killarney Vale game, and also having a bit to do with the entrance Batter Bay, the Central Coast sides have I think, 12 players. In round 9 of 2021, that Gosford side played against the Warners Bay side. And there are, I think, 11 or 12 players in that list, and we're talking, including the Deverells and Seb Thomas and Zach Munns, who all played in 2021. They would have been very young back then. I think Warners Bay finished third on the ladder in 2009. The season went on for the Hunter sides, but the Central Coast sides were locked down after that. But that Gosford side actually beat that Warners Bay side on that particular day. And they had, the Gosford side had players like Adam Miller and Scott Birkinshaw and Alex Hazelwood and the likes at Terrigal, Tristan Carter. And there's 12 players from that Gosford side that are playing at all three of the other Central Coast sides right now and playing top grade, first grade footy at the moment. And I know a few of the others are playing footy at other leagues. So it's a real shame what happened to Gosford, because they could have been playing off against Warners Bay in a grand final this year. I truly believe that. They were sort of travelling at that same sort of pace. So look after your clubs, everybody, because that was a disaster what happened to Gosford, unfortunately. But let's hope some of those players.
And huge shout out to Nathan Harkness for taking that team on the journey over the last 4 years, because it is a journey. You can't just bring in one or two players and expect to win in this league the next year. You need to have sustained growth from within your playing group. You can't just bring in one or two guns. You've got to have a pool of locals that are going to help you beat it. And
100%. I love seeing it. He's grown them and he's stuck by them. His own sons have come and since moved on from the club, playing footy at other opportunities. And I'm sure they'll be back at some stage, hopefully, if they're not drafted or whatever else. But yeah, Nathan's just stuck it out and he's just built and grown. But on account of that, there's a little bit of a personal connection to Warners Bay for me because of that reason. And I know Nathan and I were both appointed at the same time of our respective clubs. So I'm so stoked for him and those players that played in that game that are still grinding it out. It's just tremendous.
Yep. And looking at the week ahead, good a segue as any, because this is a repeat round for them. So it'll be the same game. It is Warners Bay hosting Cardiff at Fayon Oval. Andy, can you see the result changing this week?
I can't see it happening, Shane. I mean, I reckon that Warners Bay will be just that too strong. I mean, from what I read of last week, Cardiff faded late in the second half. They didn't perform adequately enough to, surprise Warners Bay. I reckon it could be a 6-goal margin at least. And I'm going to say Munzilla will get his 5 this week. Good
call. I hope so. I'm cheering. I'd like to see Munzilla get another bag. I'd like to see the Munzilla flip come about, but save that for when we're there. Actually, you're probably not allowed to do it anymore. I reckon the coach should lock that down. But yeah.
Celebrate it after the grand final, maybe.
I hope Cardiff finds something. Charlie Baker was exciting with 4 goals against Nelson Bay a couple of weeks ago. It'd be good to see him get up. He's a big, powerful sort of a lad, so it'd be nice to see him kick a few. They just need more from more. Sam Howard's still up the front. Hopefully he can get it. I'd like to see Sam Howard kick a bag before the end of the year. I reckon that'd be a feel-good story for Cardiff. Don't you reckon?
Yeah.
I reckon so.
And fit and tricky, he was a gun for Cardiff across that halfback. If they could sort of maximise a little bit more of his rebound footy, then they might be able to do okay. But there's a few guys from the Cardiff Footy Club haven't kicked a goal yet, so I encourage them to get forward and kick some tomorrow. For goodness sake, do it. Otherwise, there's going to be a lot of nude guys running around past the field over a Mad Monday this year.
Oh, God.
Indeed. Now, Ashley did send us his tips a little bit earlier in the night, and he has tipped, just seeing the margin there, but he has tipped Warners Bay by 26 points. So all of us tipping Warners Bay there. It is another repeat, this time down at Hilton.
Yeah, I'll go 35. 35.
You've gone 35. You said 6, I think. 6 goals, did you, Andy? So you're around the same mark. Hilton Moore Oval, it is the Terrigal Avoca Panthers hosting the Killarney Vale Bombers. So this is a repeat from last week. Now, last week we saw the magic of having the Lloyds playing and Flacky back and the Lewis 200. They got the fairy tale victory. Chop, can you see a fairy tale victory happening again this week, or will Terrigal Avoca get back to business as usual and take care of the
Well, the news that I passed on a little bit earlier today is significant. I don't know if you've had a look, but Mitch Price is back in the side. So they did this last year, Terrigal Avoca. They qualified Mitch Price at the end of the year or something, so that they got him right for finals. So he didn't play a part all year. But that's not surprising. The Elliot Davey medalist will come in. I wouldn't be surprised if you see James Webster come into the side, maybe even Angus Darling, just to bring a few old favourites back. Maybe Morris Goolagong even, Pete Van Dam. Let's bring and Dave Grimman. Let's get them all happening. I know who won't get a call. Me, definitely. So, but there's quite a few players back into the side. Ethan Williams is back into the side. They've also got Jack Roberts back in the side. So that's significant inclusions. Mitch Price is huge as well. So it's going to be a tough one to call, to tell you the truth. There's no Daniel Lloyd. So whether they were playing on the spirit of having Daniel Lloyd there in the side of the Bombers last week, or whether they were just going all right. No Harrison Pitt is significant, I have to say. Like, he's kicked 5 goals or more in their last 3 matches. They lost last week, just didn't have enough other goal kickers at the end of the day. But they beat Newcastle City, and they beat, who else did they beat before? There was another good win they had the week before. Nelson Bay. It was Nelson Bay. So they beat 2 top 4 sides in the weeks preceding the Killarney Vale game and fell short at Killarney Vale. That was an anomaly game because you've got an AFL superstar in the team, and you can't equate for whatever the vibe might have been, and also a few players out. They get those players in, but they lose their strike forward. So it's going to be interesting to see. Chris Bishop's a master at coaching them, especially working into the finals. So I dare say, like I said, Mitch Price, the price is right there. So he's got a few tricks up his sleeve. There's no doubt about that. But I think they'll probably just get up over Killarney Vale tomorrow, but they'll be buoyed by their win last week. I'll say Terrigal by 14 points.
I'm going to say Terrigal by 40. I'm maybe a little bit more buoyant to getting them back on their home deck. Ash has gone by 26. Andy, your thoughts on the game?
Interesting, fellas. I mean, I'm going to say it'll be a closer first half, but Terrigal by 32. Based on it's a home ground advantage, it'll be a little bit slippery underfoot at Hilton Moore, considering they've had a bit of rain out of Springfield today. No, Terrigal should be a little bit too strong still. I mean, you'd expect it'd be tough in the middle, but Killarney Vale haven't had the best record over there, as I've mentioned in the chat. They haven't won a game at Hilton Moore since the day you went to Ghani, and I think, were you there, Shane, when you nearly drowned out at Hilton Moore?
I wasn't there for that one. I did almost get bogged last year, but that was a different one. So there's a history of wet weather at Hilton Moore with the Bar TV broadcast.
No. So Chop would remember it very well. I mean, he nearly drowned.
I remember it so well, mate. I remember it so well. It was one of the wettest days ever. I won't say the wettest because we've done a couple of it, but it just did not stop coming down. I think it was our first glimpse of Trent Stubbs too, who would go on to be a superstar in the grand final in that day. But there was sometimes we couldn't even see what was going on the opposite side of the ground. It was just hectic. They've played a few games like that, Terrigal and Killarney Vale. They always seem to get them. So there's 12 guys that were playing at Gosford playing in this game tomorrow. And that's not including players like Scott Birkinshaw, who's not in that side. I might change my tip. I just had a good look through there. Terrigal Avoca got a massive turnover of players from last week.
All right, so you're going Killarney Vale?
I don't know. Okay. Yeah, I think, but Killarney Vale, they've got Rick White back in the side. They're going to be buoyed by last week. This is going to be a tough one. I'm going to abstain from tipping on this one. Thanks, and just claim it when I see the result. It's going to be close. Terrigal have got a massive shift of players. I reckon they've got eight or nine players that are new to that side this week.
Well, you just be careful of splinters when you hop down off the fence, Job. That's all I'm going to ask. Up,
I sit on the middle fence.
Yeah.
Their bookends, both their bookends are not playing. No Scott Birkinshaw and no Harrison Pitt. So
there we go. There we go. Up the road at
Wow.
Passage Road, it is the Entrance Batter Bay hosting Newcastle City. Newcastle City only the 2 losses for the year, but those 2 losses came in the last two of the previous 2 weeks from last week. That being said, they are a pretty well drilled side. We know the star power they've got all around the field. For my mind, I'm going to be taking Newcastle City to win this one and to win it quite comfortably. Corey.
yeah, well, I'm just looking through their list again. Still no Jordan Deere and still no Jack Woodhams. So should we be worried?
Well, they've got Michael Hendry back, so no.
Oh, that's massive. And I saw he got a player sponsor this week too. He's been greatly missed from their side, hasn't he?
And he's been greatly missed from his comments on the Facebook as well.
Yeah. Morkel, come on, send us a few.
Good to have him back in the
throw in a few. With Noah McDonald having a breakthrough on the goal kicking tally last week, Maxi Q, Big Q, Agent Q has yet to kick a goal this year, mate. So make sure you do, mate, because nobody wants to see you get your gear off at the end of the year.
In all fairness, with someone like Michael Hendry back, you can probably rotate the Big Q up to the forward line if you want to anyway. If they want a nice big target, maybe that's something that Groff will consider as well.
Well, Oliver Gilmore kicked a few goals the week before, and then with the big crawfish coming through with 6 last week, they can still find avenues to goal, especially against sides that are probably not top 4 at the moment. So the Entrance Batter Bay, they'll want to bounce back after a disappointing loss last week. I know they played, from what I heard, they played a wonderful game against Cardiff the week before and then sort of dropped off a little bit last week. They weren't able to be too consistent. So they've got Michael Besley in the side kicking some goals, which is good news. But the Newcastle City Blues will be too strong for them tomorrow. There's no doubt about that. But they just want to put in a good show. That's all the Entrance Batter Bay want to be able to do. Like that side for the Men's Cup, they can honestly set goals like, let's try and close that margin every time we play them. Let's just, even if we trim 1 point or 2 points off it, just let's get closer to them every time we play. So hopefully they'll set that standard.
Now, Andy, you are waving the flags at this one, so I can't ask you for a tip, but any thoughts on the game?
Just a quick thought, guys. I mean, the last time I had him earlier this year up at headquarters number 1, where City were kept to only 3 or 4 goals in the second half. I mean, that was their best efforts. I mean, that was when Jordan got kept goalless by Max Ottawai.
Yeah.
The Otters watching.
Another Gosford. He would have been another Gosford player, by the way. Another Gosford player.
Yeah. No, I reckon, it'll be a tougher affair. I'm just going to be waving the flags and hoping probably it's going to be a lot cooler than I think at 3 o'clock. I'm going to say it's probably City by 10 goals by the rate. They're playing. It'll be tough to beat, even with a yellow football.
Well, it's finals time, isn't it? So it's in their best interest to be rolling on now, Newcastle City. This is where the top sides start to try and send messages to the other sides.
Yeah,
indeed. Now, for our Bar TV match of the round, we are only covering the one game this week. It is the Men's Cup game in between the Maitland Saints and the Nelson Bay Marlins. This is out at Max McMahon Oval. It's going to be our first visit out there since they knocked over the club room. So we're going to be, I think we're going to be up on the hill by the old canteen or something. We'll find somewhere to perch, though, I'm sure about that. And I, for one, am a little bit torn in this one. I'm obviously president of the Nelson Bay Marlins fan club, but Max McMahon Oval and the Maitland Saints is my favourite ground to visit, so I'm really tight on this one. I am really looking forward to tomorrow. Love the hospitality of the Maitland Saints. Love what they've done this year. They are obviously rebuilding under a new coach, and they've done some pretty good stuff. They've only got the 2 wins, but they've shown they've built their brand of footy throughout the course of this year, and I'm really excited about to see how that brand looks after seeing them in round 1, and I missed that game down at the Entrance Batter Bay where we covered them down there, so I haven't seen them since round 1 in person, and I'm really excited to see how that Maitland Saint brand of footy comes up, and I think they'll be a really good foil for the Nelson Bay Marlins. Now, the Nelson Bay Marlins we saw a couple of weeks back, and they do play an exciting brand of footy. They've got some stars all over the ground, from the BB gun up forward to Wade Blackburn. I loved young Roach there as well. He was great through the middle in that, especially in that last quarter when we saw them against Cardiff the other week. So I think this is going to be a really exciting game. I think both sides play a brand of football that'll go really well on that big field out there at Max McMahon. What do you think, Chop?
Yeah, this is going to be a good game. Maitland, like right from round one, and although they haven't won too many games, they've always been exciting and dynamic, especially through their midfield. And if it just wasn't so much for a rotation of some of their key players each year for the last 2 or 3 seasons, they probably would be a fair bit further up the ladder. And I feel for them for that reason. If they can keep this crop of players, and new coach Hoffman's doing a great job up there. They last time I saw them play when they beat the entrance Bateau Bay, albeit the entrance Bateau Bay came back very strongly in that last quarter. But they were in control of the game all the way through. There was no Ryland Hoffman playing that day, but they looked like they'd worked out and ironed out a few creases that they had with that movement of the ball through their midfield. They looked like they were still thinking their way through it at times and then choosing definitively when to pull the trigger, but they were hitting their targets. That first 2, 3, 4 kicks were actually hitting the targets, and then they were pulling the trigger and sending it forward and actually finding a target. And it wasn't Ryland Hoffman because he was injured. So that looks to me like that's improved through the course of the season, and they're an exciting midfield. Charlie Walker and Riley Newstead is killing it at the moment. Will McPhee's playing great footy in their back line there. I like Harry Cornford as a player. That they've got heaps to look forward to.
I don't know what you said.
Jack Ellis as well.
I don't know when you mentioned Zach, but yeah, they've got some good talent, haven't they?
Have they got Ryland Hoffman in the side? I'm having a look. No, he's not.
He's not. No
Hoffloader. What a shame.
That is a shame. Yeah.
That could make it a bit tougher for them. I mean, they had a win on the weekend, so let's see DJ Stewart to take Mark of the Year at some stage tomorrow.
That is always a possibility as well. If he gets the right setup, watch out.
Always. So that's going to be a lot tougher. Nelson Bay are solid, aren't they? Like I noticed them. I remember playing against them back in 2020 or 2019, and there's still a lot of players in that side that were playing in that team back then. Last time they were in Black Diamond Cup, and they just look battle hardened. They look like they're good in the clinches. It's a real honest, no nonsense style of footy, and they create mistakes in their opposition. The way that they play good pressure style of football. They're on top of it. They've got a good vibe going on there too. I've got to say, one thing that really warmed to me about the Nelson Bay Footy Club was just how Billy Barton would celebrate his goals and just the energy that he would throw out there. And it was great. That's what you want from your big key forward. And it looks like the whole side feeds off that. So he's an important person in their makeup. We've known that for a few years for sure. Wade Blackburn versus Riley Newstead. That's going to be great from two really, really incredible leaders of their two clubs. It's going to be good. I don't know if they'll play on each other, but Zach Stewart, he's a gun midfielder for Maitland. Don't know. They're going to have a stronger forward line in Nelson Bay.
Jaden Reimer sitting there as well for the Marlins.
Stronger forward line in Nelson Bay, faster midfield at Maitland. It's going to come down to a lot their defence, and I think Nelson Bay are stronger there. Nelson Bay are heading for finals too. But I tell you what, it wouldn't surprise me if Maitland managed to march on and get 2 in a row because they'll be buoyed up from the win last week. But I'd have to say Nelson Bay by probably 20.
Yeah, listen, I think you hit the nail on the head there about Nelson Bay. They're a really well-drilled side. It feels as though they all buy into the team plan. Like they know what they have to do and they just buy in 100%. And I think that was evidence in that game against Cardiff. They really, their commitment to what the team needed versus the individual was what won them that game. And I expect that that's just how they play. You know, they're a single team club, which means, you know, some weeks they've got 40 guys to pick from. Other weeks they've got 22, 21, 20 to pick from. Yep. So they're always going to have some fluctuation. But I love what they bring. And I'm really looking forward to seeing them play tomorrow. You've gone by 24 points. I think Ash has said 25 points. Listen, I'll say 26 points just to keep with the flow. Andy, what do you think about tomorrow's game out at Max McMahon?
Well, I reckon you're going to have a good day out there tomorrow. I reckon it might be a very tough one to call. I mean, I'd like to see Maitland do an upset, but I don't think it'd be permission to say that everyone's going to say Nelson Bay. I'm saying Nelson Bay by 7 goals.
Yep.
40 plus points.
Their top 3 are elite, aren't they? Their best 3 players or 4 players in Nelson Bay are ridiculous. So, and they've produced some good players coming out there.
If you look
Troy
at
Luff
Reimer, Blackburn, and Barton, they're three players that would be top 3 in any club in the league, I reckon. So.
And a couple of Sydney Swans have come out of their ranks over the years too. So there must be something in the water up there. So, as you guys know, I was very critical of Nelson Bay not being in Cup from the start of the season. But I'm safe to say they've silenced me a little bit, like I when I saw them play. But I still stand by they should have been there from the start. And then maybe the entrance Barrow Bay wouldn't have that extra game. Just got to dig it in. No, but look, if they make the finals and they're looking very likely to, then they're a worthy recipient of a top 4 spot. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, indeed. And looking forward to also seeing the new nets out there too. So there'll be no more balls on the road tomorrow. We've got the big new nets out there. There's a lot of work happening out at Max McMahon. New club rooms. The old club rooms have been knocked down. I was speaking to Hugh Matheson during the week. The old club rooms are gone. So they've been leveled. The new ones are being built. We're not going to see them this season, but they'll be ready to go for next season. So it's really exciting times out there for the whole Maitland community and where the football club fits in as well. So really exciting to getting it out there tomorrow. We'll have coverage kicking off from 2 p.m. So make sure you jump on the Bar TV app, the Kings of Live streaming, and watch us. Gentlemen, we'll throw over for any final thoughts before we wrap this thing up.
Yeah, I've got me and Andy got heaps of final thoughts, haven't we, Andy? Especially when it comes to goals. Yeah, I agree with you, Shane. Maitland are going to be a force to be reckoned with over the next few years. Right, with no Pitt, okay, who do you think is going to win the Goolagong? Now, given that is it the count stops from the final round, Andy? Is that right?
Yes, it does. It does. It finishes off round 17.
Right, round 17. So we've got 6. Is that 6 or 5? 6 games left. I don't know if Harrison Pitt's away for all of them, but he's away for a few. I'd suggest probably at least 4. So do you guys know what the tally is for the goalkeeper?
Well, he's 6 goals ahead. He's on 36 with Munns in second place with 30 and Walters from Terrigal Avoca with 26. So, listen, I think it's going to be probably between Munns and Walters. We've seen Walters kick a couple. I think he's had 2 or is it 3 bags already?
3. He's had 3 bags. I think has he had 3 or 2 bags?
Yeah. So
just having a look now. Yeah, 2. He's had 2 bags.
Without Pitt there, he's going to be a focal point for that team. So he's going to certainly poll well with, he's only 4 behind Munns. But
10 behind Pitt.
10
so can make that up in 6.
Assuming that Pitt's gone for 4 or 5 weeks, I think they'll catch Pitt and overtake him. Listen, I'm going to go with Munns.
Do you reckon Munns will get it? He might just about win an Elliot Davey too if he does that. But yeah, all right. What about in the top 10? The big Mitch Crawford finds his way in there. No Jack Woodhams. Could Mitch Crawford be a late bolter? He's 20 goals behind. That's only 4 bags to catch up to Pitt.
I'm gonna give a firm no to that one, Chop.
All right. Well, last one. This is the last one I'm going to put to you. What about the BB gun? We've only seen him play once, and he's a weapon. He's entered the top 10 as well? Where is he? I think he's right on the cusp of the top 10. Could he come through and kick enough goals?
Are we allowed to count his games from the plate games early on in the year?
Well, it won't count to the Goolagong so much. Yeah, true. Yeah, because how many did you have? Like 50 in those 3 games or so? That's insane. I should put a little asterisk next to, because Jack Woodhams would be right up there too, because he kicked 8 in the plate game too. So, yeah, if only they were able to count. But unfortunately, I think Jaden Morgan did the same thing with that last year. So, looking forward to seeing him come back to the Terrigal side too. They miss him. But anyway, yeah, interesting. Keep watching the Goolagong Trophy race and the bags and flags chase. It's been very exciting, very interesting so far this year. And anyone who's got a donut, work hard. Keep your pants up. Kick your goal.
Keep an eye on Corey's socials. He's going to post that one a little bit later today. Andy,
hopefully I'll get to cross a few off it.
You've had some IT issues with a few ins and outs tonight. Do you have any final thoughts before we wrap this thing up?
More ins and outs than the Terrigal football senior side at the moment.
Jesus. Christ, boys. No, I'm going to just say quickly, I'm going to say Munzilla as well for the Goolagong. It'd be nice to see a Warners Bay name on the list of the top goal kicker. I think Warners Bay haven't had that privilege in the Black Diamond League / AFL 100 Central Coast. So it'd be nice for them to just put a trophy up for that. My Nathan point will be, Corey, are we going to do get something for the leading bag winner at the end of the year? We're going to get strand bags.
Yeah, I think there's a Diana Ferrari or Louis Vuitton bag of some sort that they'll be able to give their missus. So, yeah, no, there will be a prize. I think it could be maybe a BCF voucher or something along those lines. So, boating, camping, fishing, boot it, claim it, flaunt it. That's basically what the whole thing is about kicking goals this year. Boot it.
Yeah, we need a bit more flaunting too. We want some goal celebrations.
Yeah, I know.
Maitland and Nelson Bay, if you're watching,
you know what? I'll put the challenge out. I'll put the challenge out to Billy Barton because he looks like he's on the cusp of doing something hugely dynamic and theatrical when he kicks a goal. So if he gets a bag or somewhere close to it, Billy, do you mind? Can I ask you for a little favour, mate? Let's get something great with that celebration. I reckon you've got something special to show us. If we're calling it the
BB gun, we want to see what the BB gun celebration is.
Yes.
Sheriff Woody's got the 6-shooters. I don't know what the BB gun celebration will be, but let's see it tomorrow.
Andy, did you do a celebration when you played darts? Remember we had that little challenge?
No, I didn't. We had a little bit of chat. Yeah, we had a little challenge, Corey. But I haven't had one of a decent win to merit it.
I've not. Yet. I'm the same. I haven't won one game of table tennis. Got knocked out of the finals last week. So
I was just going to say quickly, guys. Before we wrap it up, I'm going to organise a strand. I'm going to try and organise a strand bags luggage, like a piece of airplane luggage for the leading bag winner for both men and women.
That'd be very good. That. Feel free to use any of the content to help sell the thing. We can put their logo on the last of it for sure.
Well, because it'd be a good preparation, just to say the least. I think it's going to be a very.
We lost him again. Anyway, listen, Corey, I think that's a sign for us to wrap things up. Huge shout out to Ash Borg, who couldn't join us tonight, but Ash Borg will be alongside us tomorrow out at Maitland. You and I are going to be there. I'm hoping that everyone watching tonight's also going to be dialed in. If you can't make it to the game, make sure you get on the Bar TV app and join us at 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. Corey, I can't wait to see you out there, and take care, everyone. We'll catch you.
Yeah, how good's footy? See you tomorrow.
See ya.
Are we still rolling?
I dropped out again. I don't know what's going on.
Sorry, mate.
I can't hit the stop button. It's not letting me stop. This might go all night. I can't hit the stop button.
Are we still going? Oh, good.
Yeah,
this is a dream for me. I can keep talking. Let's go.
Oh, no. What have I done? I got to stop this stream before Corey talks all night.
Oh, don't worry. I've got heaps of content. There's heaps of things I can talk about. Don't worry.
Believe it or not, the stop button is frozen. I can't finish the stream. We are going to be talking all night. How bad's that? Or good's that?
I've got a hot date. I can't talk all night. It's the only time I'll stop talking is when I've got a hot date. So.
I'm going to try hitting a different button, and it will hopefully cut off this stream. If not, I don't know why this bloody thing won't work.
Thanks for joining us tonight, Andy. We didn't get a chance to say thanks to you before, I think. So, he's gone. It's just you and me, Andy. Let's go.
Yeah, God.
Good stuff. Let's have a chat. We haven't done a bags and flags for a long time, so let's do that. Let's do that next week, eh? Let's do it.
Oh, hang on. Oh, look at. Yeah, we'll do it. Shane's coming back quickly.
There he is.
Stopping up.
He's back.